Hello everybody, CW here. I have a pretty awesome pair of boxes to open up and show you all today. I've been recently contacted by one of our viewers, Dwayne, and he's always in the comments, often there in the chats on Friday nights. Always got good comments to make, good commentary. Stays in touch with everything that we do, and like all the rest of you guys out there, we live parallel lives enjoying the same kind of things. Well, he had some stuff that's been hanging around for a while. I think the story was it had gone through some yard sales or garage sales or something, and they were just some stuff that was left over that he thought I might appreciate. He knew I would like some of the bullet molds. He had a couple bullet molds in here, so I know what's in here. And in all honesty, I've already had them open, but I want to open them up with you and show you what this super kind gentleman from Florida sent to us here on the channel. And I got some surprises along the way that I'll reveal probably in later videos, but it's going to be good stuff. So let's start with one box, and let's see what we got in here. I think this is the one, the heavy one. So this ought to have the biggest items in it. And they were packed much better than this, but you can see what we've got here. All right. We've got two presses, and they're in rough shape, but we can bring them back. He wasn't sure what this first one was because there's no markings on it. And it sure looks like a C&H to me. C&H press. So I'm going to scrub a little bit in here and see if I can, in cleaning them up anyway, I got to make the rams move. And I believe this is the handle for this one. Oh, here's my Ellie come to see. My Ellie come to see me. So it's a little bit rusted. And I got to flip this around. The linkage is backwards, but that's okay. I got to work on this anyway. But it's a C&H press, takes a 7/8 die, just as standard for us. It's even got the priming arm in here, which is commonly lost. The feeder isn't there, but it's just like the Lyman's. And it's actually a really good old style, much like the Spartan, if you're familiar with the Spartan line of Lyman presses. Very similar. And if I remember correctly, C&H made these for a couple of other outfits and didn't want their name on them, so they made them without the C&H embossing in the mold, the casting. I'm pretty sure that's what the history on this one is. It's one of those. I think it's going to be like it's a chain, probably a chain store if I'm thinking correctly, like a Montgomery Ward's or Sears or something along those lines. But anyway, it's a good durable press. And what he had said to me, I think there's a note in here somewhere. And I'm all for this. And that's spreading the love. Down the road, we've helped some people out who are just starting out, and this is just the kind of thing that works good for that. So I'll get this cleaned up and get it in good working order, and then see what happens down the road. Here we have another, like some spare parts too, another True Line Junior press. This might be large. This looks like large, and maybe small is in here. Yeah, that's small. So this looks like a complete press. It needs a little bit of TLC. I haven't played with it at all. All right, it still rotates good, but the ram has got a pretty good amount of rust on it. And it doesn't, this is the early one. It doesn't have the assist. So I don't actually have one of these yet. The other ones that I've shown you on the channel a while back were the second models with the assist. So this is the older one. That's pretty neat. I didn't have an older one. And there's the writing for you. True Line Junior, Lyman, Middlefield, Connecticut, made in USA. That is really cool. This will clean up really good. This will clean up and be 100%. It's missing the handle, but it's just a piece of 1/2 inch cold rolled, so that's easy enough to make. I can make that and harden it up, and it'll be a good complete press. And these are shell holders. These are the different style shell holders that it takes. And I think there's some dies over there. So we'll see what we've got here. Yeah. This is a large caliber. This is a small caliber. Very cool. All right, and there's one in there. And there's a small in there now. So let's put this back together here. And let's open the other box, so you don't make for a 1/2-hour video here of an unboxing. That's really cool. Thank you so much, Dwayne. That is awesome, sir. This one over here has got all the little goodies in it. So let's see what we've got over here. By the way, the boxes made it really good. I don't see any damage here, so let's see what we've got over here. And CW, hopefully you can use this stuff. The presses and handles was bad, rusty. The molds looked much better. If you can't use it, please pass it on to someone who can. Dwayne7834. So that's awesome, man. And that's it. That's exactly what we'll do. We'll see what we got in here, and anything that I can't use, we'll see if we can make somebody's day. So first things first, what do we got here? We've got precision reloader sizing and seating dies in caliber 45 ACP. A cool old box. And this is a 3-die set with a round nose seater. That is steel, but it's got probably dried lubrication on it, if I had to guess. And this is reminiscent of C&H. I'll get these all cleaned up, take them all apart. There's some corrosion on the nut there, but it's not rust. It's some other kind of corrosion from maybe the lubrication that was used. It almost looks like a gold nut, and it could be gold or cadmium plated. I can't really tell. Maybe that's part of that corrosion that's coming off it because of that plating. Anyway, reminiscent of these two nuts, two slim nuts, or C&H is what really comes to mind. I was talking with Walks Fletcher, and there's the flat nose in there. And he mentioned somebody else too, Lackmiller, that he thought these might be. But there's no markings that I can see for a manufacturer on these. And this one here is the sizing die. So these are pretty old. Nowadays we have the sizing die with the decapper. And this one does not. So this is not a sizing die. This is just a decapping die. This is your sizer die. And then this is your seater die. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. I'll do a little bit of research and see if I can figure out who it might be made by. But I'm betting it's going to be C&H, which is good quality stuff, and they're still in business today. Set those aside, and going along with that, I'll save this for later because it's a prize. Oh, here's a box from one of these shell holders. They would come in this box. J-type shell holder. That's a cool box. Lyman Gun Sight Corporation, Middlefield, Connecticut. That's right local to me. I've been there. I've been to that factory a few times, and they actually haven't been in that factory in quite a while. But this is old. Lyman Ideal. That's going to be old, and it says something on there, but I can't quite read it. NESLO maybe, but I don't know what that means. You see it. You see the writing on there. I love cool stuff like this. That's just awesome. All right, and what we have here is a Lyman tungsten carbide TC die. Back in the day, all the dies were steel, and when they first started making the carbide dies, it was a special thing. So you got a special die set, you know, a special die box, and you'd buy just the carbide sizer die. And it's got a broken capping pin, but it's supposed to be 45 auto, and it says Lyman TC 45 ACP. Very, very cool. I've got a couple of really all-American die sets in these black boxes. That's very cool. And then to go with that, actually they don't go with that, but they will work in that. These are, well, it says complete die sets. I haven't checked them out to see if they are. But this is a die set for the 310 tool, which will work in the Trueline junior presses. But it comes with an extra die because the Trueline Junior, I showed you the seater for the primers. When you use the 310 tool, you don't get a primer seater, so you have to use a die. So there should be a die in here that's just for seating primers. And then the other difference would be 310 die is always neck size, where Trueline dies could full length size. Anyway, that's what we got there, 32 auto. I think that's a little bit of a rarity. I don't think that's too common. So if that's complete, that'll be a nice addition to my collection. 357. And oh, there's a primer die. Okay. And that's what the priming die looks like. And it goes in the 310 tool, which is a nutcracker, if you're familiar with that. And if you watch here, you seat your primer on there and you push this up and it seats the primer. When you close your handles, it grabs the rim of the case and seats your primer for you. Pretty neat. And there's only 3 dies in here, so this is not a complete set. Hopefully there's a sizer decapper and a seater so you can use it, but I'll open it up and check it out another time. So we got 32 ACP and we got 357, and then we got a 9mm. 9mm Luger, and it looks like, oh, we even got the small part that everybody always loses. Looks like we got 4 or 5 dies in there, so that's probably a full set for 9mm. That's pretty cool too. Now let's get into the part that I really get excited about, and that's the bullet molds. Now this one here is the only 2 cavity, and it's not in its correct box, but it is a 2 cavity box. And it's a 360-344. Let me see here if I can get a little more light on this subject. Hopefully you guys can read that. And this, I've already cleaned this die up a little bit, this mold up a little bit. I'll show you what they look like. It's a Type 3 wad cutter. Pretty nice mold. Looks really good shape. And it is an ideal, so it's an older mold. Very nice. Very nice. I'll have a couple of casting videos to do. Let's check out this one. This one here is also not marked. Cool old boxes, huh? Let's see what this one is. This one here is a 358-416. And I think I was talking to Roger, and I told him it was a W939 because that's what it had on the face when I first opened the box. This can use a little bit of cleaning. But now I see it's a 358-416. And this is an old mold. This is a very old mold. Look at there. There's no cross-hatching vent lines inside here. That's got to be pretty old. Now, looking at that, it is a 35. I thought it was a 32. 35. So it's a 35 3 416. 358 416. I think the 311 is what I'm thinking of, is a round nose. I think Walter just got a newer version of this that I was talking to him about, or he just cast some. That's really neat. This is an old mold. This is an old mold. I'm going to have to look this one up. And let's see what else we got here. We've got 311 252. That makes sense. This is a small 32 round nose bullet. He probably had for that die set. Oh, there's a bullet in here. Show you what the bullet looks like. A little 32 round nose. Oh, there's the mold, single cavity. Ideal 311 252. Cute little bugger. I think I have this mold. I'm pretty sure that I do. That's quite loose. That was tight. This was wicked loose. Very, very neat. I love old molds, especially these old boxes. This is the coolest. All right, I gotta step it up a little. I don't want to make this video last forever. We're already 17 minutes here. See if we can wrap this up here pretty quick. All right, this one I think is marked wrong. 358 156. I have that mold too, but that's not what this one is. This one here was in pretty rough shape, and I actually was able to clean it up pretty good. This is a 358 75. 35875, and I think this is a very old mold that was, yeah, this is a very old bullet. This is, I'm going to say 200 grains, maybe a little more, 35 caliber, and if I'm not mistaken, this one was actually made for the Maynard 3540 Maynard, and there was another one, maybe a Stevens. Probably a Stevens. So it's going back quite a ways. It's a bevel-based bullet. And you see the little bevel base in there? See the little bitty hooks on the top of the mold where it fills, where the base is? That's where you can tell it's a bevel base. You can just see them right there at the tip of my fingernail. Both sides. It's a bevel-based bullet, so it makes it look like it's a smaller diameter. And I think it's going to be long for the 38 Smith & Wesson, because that had a big 200 grain bullet too. So this would have, I don't know what you could use this in. Maybe you could use it in 35 Remington. Maybe you could use it in Maximum. I'll try it in all those for sure. It looks a lot like the 350, the 35 200 flat nose from RCBS. And Lee makes a copy of it, and just about everybody makes a copy of it. So this is not the box for it, but that's a really cool old mold too. That's a piece of history. And then we've got this one here. This one here is a correctly marked 356402. This is a really dandy mold. Any of you 9mm guys who cast will recognize this bullet right away. This is Lyman's version of it. Lee's got one. Truncated cone, 120 grain. And this mold's in really nice shape. And it's ideal, so it's an old one. 358 402. Single cavity, 9mm mold. Very, very cool. And I saved my favorite one for last. The box is in ratty shape. I'm hoping that I can resurrect it a little bit because there's a bunch of pieces in the box here. But what it says here is 1 set bullet mold blocks, hollow base. This is how Lyman did it. They hand wrote in the numbers. 358, 395. Hollow point bullet number, yada, yada, yada. $7.95. You see the bullet's in really bad shape. I mean, the box is in really bad shape. But here's the mold. And yeah, there's all our pieces. So I'm hoping that I can fix this box up a little bit. But here's our mold. And I did clean this one up because it was a little bit ratty. And by the marks in here, it looks like this might have been back to the factory. It's got a 10 stamped up in the top there. And they usually did that for whenever it came back or wherever it got something special done to it, it would get special markings. So 358, 395, single cavity blocks, 389, 389. So they're matching blocks. And let's see here. These work just like the hollow points, except this one is a hollow base. This is a hollow base wad cutter mold. So the mold, the base goes in there like that, and it casts a hollow base bullet in 38, 357. So this is a really nice mold. You don't see these very often anymore. It takes a little bit extra to cast with them, but here's how it worked. You put this in, you turn it, and that little step there, that little pin engaged under that screw, and it wouldn't let it come out. And then you pour it from the nose just like you normally do, and you get your button nose. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if, no, this one isn't, but 10, okay, no, that marking 10 is for the size pin it has. 10, okay, see it on there, 10? That's the marking on the front of the mold here that just tells you what pin it gets. Because this had a couple different weights. So this goes in like that and turns, and it won't come out. So when it's in your mold blocks, it'll be like this. And you fill it. Crack the sprue. Just twist this. These are never a problem to cast with. Almost never. Because the design, it's not going to get stuck because you crack it and that breaks it free inside, and then you pull it out. And your bullet falls right out. So these are generally pretty easy to cast with. Like Roger was telling me, the way that they did it with any kind of volume was that they bought 2 of these molds and they would cast them side by side. You get more production out of it, and you can do it because you want to let it cool a little bit to let your sprue get the right temperature. And you had perfect bases because it's a nose bore bullet. So any disruption is up in the nose where it's not going to do any harm, where the base of the bullet is perfect. So that's pretty neat. So this is awesome. This is awesome, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much, sir. So I've stretched to 23 minutes. I wanted to keep it short, but there was a lot to show you, and I think it's really awesome and really cool. So let me get all this back together. I'm going to do some cleanup on these other molds, and I want to do some casting with those in the coming days. I'll clean up those and probably do other videos on those and show you how they're coming. Maybe I'll do them all at once just to show you how they cleaned up. Thanks so much, Dwayne. That's awesome, man. I really, really, really appreciate it. And I will spread the love around. Stay tuned for that. God bless everybody. CW out.